Have you ever sat and wondered to yourself what it would be like if we got an action movie starring Dave Bautista that kind of felt like a comic book, but also kind of felt like it was written by a 14-year-old cracked out on Mountain Dew? Well, I got just the movie for you.
What do you do?
Retirement planning.
So The Killer's Game stars Dave Bautista, Terry Crews, and others. To have Dave Bautista playing this hitman, he's basically the best of the best, the creme de la creme of assassins. But he finds out one day that he has something going on with his head. He goes and gets a scan done. They find out it's basically terminal. He's going to die. So he takes out a hit on himself so that he can exploit the insurance on himself, soon to be called back by his doctor, and he says, hey buddy, you're not actually going to die. So Dave Bautista's kind of in this oh shit situation where he has a bunch of assassins going after him. He can't call off the hit, and you have this very over-the-top action film. It's kind of trying to be a comic. Now, starting off with what I actually enjoyed about this movie, I think this movie is a ton of dumb, mindless fun. If you're somebody who loves action films, you're one of these people who sees all of the new John Wicks, you see anything related to Jason Statham, you could have some fun with this movie because the action is incredibly over the top. It's actually fun when it's on screen, but that is by far the best selling point of this film. So I think this film has a couple of stylistic issues that I just think are way off. But Dave Bautista's in this, and I really like this guy. I'm kind of disappointed he never gets more serious roles. I know that's something he's trying to explore in Hollywood. Liked him in Knock at the Cabin. I like him in this film. In fact, I think he's just an overall pretty good actor. So to see him get a main role, I like it. I hope this movie does well. But the movie's not without faults, okay? He tries to do his best. Terry Crews is a second to him. I think Terry Crews is really the only other character that stands out in this film. But overall, it kind of feels like a rehashed action film that's trying to do too many things at once. It's really trying hard to be comic heavy, where it has so much artistic flair to it. Some of the things they're showing on screen, trying to make it feel like a comic book, actually took me out of it. It felt really weird and forced, because what this movie chooses to do is it introduces these people with like little comic panels for their names, and it paints them in this very artistic way when you're introduced to these side characters that really have no impact on the film. So you'll have these battles going on where these assassins will fight Dave Bautista one-on-one. They'll come at him and you'll immediately kind of realize what this movie is. It's one of these movies where they just throw endless fodder at this guy to kill, and these characters will get introduced with this big bold title just to be wiped out within 30 seconds, and it's kind of leaving you feeling like, why is that in there? Like, why did we go through all that effort to make these characters look so hyped up? They're not even centric to the movie. I know everybody has a certain requirement that needs to be met for a movie they go into knowing it's going to be a corny action film, and mine is actually pretty low. But whenever a movie chooses to do that thing where it's just one hitman after another, and it just keeps going through that, it starts to feel very bland and formulaic very fast, at least to me. Because you know exactly what they're doing. It's going to be the same riff over and over again for the runtime. And I understand it's fun because of the way it's filmed. As I said, the action in this is actually done pretty well. But since you see it done like that over and over again, it feels very played out very fast, if that makes sense. There's also a love angle they're trying to hit on between Bautista and this girl, and I actually liked that part of the film. I actually thought that was probably one of the better parts of this film because it was pretty believable. I enjoyed it. I thought the way they acted it out, their chemistry was really good. But there comes a point in this film where there's something attached to that happens, and if you've seen the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about. I did not like it at all, and it just took me out of it to the point I was like, what the fuck? It was just one of those times where they took something that was a clear positive to me and undermined it and did something I was not personally a fan of. And whenever a movie does that and kind of ruins something I think is a positive going for, it kind of saddens me inside, but no different than a lot of times. If I had to describe this movie, I would call it a very over-the-top John Wick mixed with Scott Pilgrim versus the World. One of those movies going for that very heavy comic aesthetic. This movie also has a ton of CGI blood, which, as good as the action is, I'm just not a fan of. Can we please get back to practical effects? I don't know. This is a movie I think I would have liked a lot more if we didn't go into that route of a lot of John Wick, Jason Statham movies that are just coming out every other week nowadays. Watching this film, it kind of felt like it was just trying to capitalize on the momentum of modern day action films that are very artistic, very over the top and stylistic. Fun fact, I actually read that Jason Statham was considered for this leading role. So that should tell you everything about this film and what you're going to get going into it. I think this movie's fine for the target audience it's probably trying to capture. If you're somebody who likes to see all of the new action releases, you've seen all the John Wicks, all of Jason Statham's movies, you like action comedies, you like that little romance angle they're trying to throw in, you'll probably have a lot of fun with this. But to me, this movie was pretty forgettable, so I'd only recommend you see it if you have nothing else to do. Pretty quick review, but not too much to talk about in this one. So if you have seen it, comment down below, let me know what you think about it, or let me know what your favorite Dave Bautista movie or role is. If you haven't subscribed already, join me down below, but that's all I got in this video. Peace!